Car Talk is presented by Gates Automotive, Northern Indiana's premier local-owned auto dealer, specializing in Toyota, Chevy, and pre-owned vehicle sales and service. Gates Automotive has locations in South Bend, Mishawaka, Granger, and Elkhart. For more information, visit gatesautomotive.com.
Hey everyone, JC here. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Car Talk, where we talk about everything car-related from buying, selling, financing to servicing. Today's guest spends a lot of her time leading her team to provide our customers with the best experience before they even show up here at Gates Automotive. I want to introduce you to Andrea Higginbotham. Andrea, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, no problem. I know it maybe doesn't always fit in your schedule, and I know that you've got a great team, so they're filling in for you right now while you're gone.
Yes.
So we are glad to have you.
Awesome.
So to kind of kick things off, we're going to do what we call as a 30-second rundown. I'm going to throw as many questions as you as possible, if we can get through in 30 seconds, and just try and answer them as quick as possible.
Okay.
You can do it.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. 30 seconds on the clock, and here we go. What's your full name?
Andrea Jean Higginbotham.
Where were you born?
Right here, South Bend, Indiana.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up here in South Bend for the most part. Also lived in Mississippi for quite a while, and in Indianapolis in my adult life for quite a while, and now I'm back home.
Great. Where'd you go to high school?
Riley, Wildcats.
What'd you do right after high school?
Right after high school, went straight into college. Criminal justice is what I studied, and ended up in the automotive industry.
What was your favorite class in high school?
Business.
Business. Awesome. There's the 30-second timer there. We have a few more, so we're just going to get through them. In college, what was your favorite class?
Business law.
Business law. Cool. Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have?
4.
And what are their ages?
26, almost 21.
You don't look old enough to have a 26-year-old, just so you know.
I do. Let's see, 19, going to be 20, and my baby will be 17 in a couple months.
How long have you worked at Gates?
I have been here 3 years.
What's your job title?
I am the Internet Department Manager.
There we go. And have you had any other roles here at Gates?
I have. When I started, I was the Kelley Blue Book Acquisition Manager, and then an opportunity came up for me to kind of take over a department, help develop a department, and here I am.
Perfect. So I know we talked about a few things beforehand, but let's even just dive into what you do here at Gates and why that brings value to our customers.
Okay.
Your job title, so Internet Sales Manager.
Yes.
Or Internet Department Manager at Gates Chevy World, which is our location in Mishawaka. What do you do? What do you do? Like, what's your job?
So, in a nutshell, my job is to generate business for the sales team at Gates Chevy World.
Great.
Whether that means internet, flyers, social media, penetration, whatever.
Awesome. That was a really short answer. That was perfect. Really precise. Let's talk about your team real fast. So you've got a team that you've been growing.
Yes.
And a couple of years ago, it didn't look like what it does today.
That is correct.
Let's talk about your team. Who's on your team? Who do you have?
So I have Chris Peters and William Crane.
Shout out to Chris. Shout out to William.
Yes, I love them both. They're a huge addition to the team. Great guys, good phone voices. Their customer service is exceptional. And that by itself is the reason that we're successful.
That's awesome. And I know that you understand it takes a whole team to get everything moving in the same direction to really get success for what you guys are doing.
Definitely.
And when I say success, I don't mean a monetary success or a deal success. It's helping people find the right car so that they can have that for not only today, but for 90 days from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now. And that's a pretty hard job right now, especially with the kind of market, because there's a huge shortage of new vehicles, and there's also a shortage of used vehicles. How do you help someone, or how do you help someone understand the kind of shortage that's going on right now?
Well, I try to just be transparent, to be quite honest. You know, a lot of people come in, haven't bought a car in the last couple of years, and the industry's changed dramatically. I've been in the automotive industry about 26 years, and in a lot of different facets. This is the first time, the last 3 years at a dealership level. However, everything has changed. The way we buy cars has changed. I can remember even when I started at Gates, I remember trying to sell a car to a friend, and I touched the desk and told my manager, hey, she loves this car. She wants to buy this car. And he says, well, she hasn't driven the car, Andrea. You cannot sell her this car. She hasn't driven it. Today, it's exactly the opposite, So things are changing, but I'm thankful to work for a place that strategically plans for everything, to include the things that you usually can't plan for. I have a great team, not only that works for me, but that I work for. And I think that
True.
all of us kind of, meeting of the minds, we prepare for things like this. Right now, the biggest challenge is trying to convince somebody to buy the vehicle that they haven't touched and driven before. And I believe that the reason we're successful is because Gates has been around for so long. So they trust the name, they trust the brand, the family.
That's great. And we haven't really even gone into detail about what maybe your guys do task-wise every day. So let's touch that for a second.
Sure.
So you've got, traditionally in the automotive industry, they call that department either the internet department or the BDC.
Yes.
What is BDC?
Business Development Center. So again, generating traffic for the sales team.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're the sales team over the phone. The biggest, I think, success is that we try to stay knowledgeable about the product. We want to know what's going on. I probably ask too many questions in attempt to try to be proactive, because as we see things coming, we know we're going to get the questions on the phone from the customer.
Exactly.
So
that's you being proactive.
Yes. So typically, a customer will get online, see a vehicle that interests them, that'll generate a lead, and then our group and a lot of other groups will get that customer contact information. So my team promptly reaches out to the customers, and I think that's the key, is being prompt, and then explaining to them why they should come to us as opposed to anywhere else. And there's
That's
a lot
great.
of good reasons for that.
Exactly. Just like you said, being prompt, but also the stuff you didn't even say is being professional, because it's that
Yes.
much of a standard for your guys.
Yes.
They need to know what's going on. They need to be thorough about it so
Yes.
that they know what to say and that they know what answers they're going to ask before they even ask it.
Agreed.
Especially with the inventory that we have right now, or lack of.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about exact levels for a second.
Okay.
So normally at your store, you could see upwards of 200, sometimes over 200 new Chevys.
Yes.
How many new Chevys are on the ground right now?
Unsold, I would say 5.
Isn't that crazy?
Brand new. It is so crazy. Yes.
What if you told yourself 2 years ago that you could only have 5 new vehicles on the ground?
I think many of our sales team would have probably left. I would have probably thought of another direction within Gates. No. And again, it's because of our team. My leaders are proactive in bringing us information.
Yeah.
When they see, changes getting ready to occur, they bring it to us. We talk about it. We come up with a plan. And that's why we've maintained being successful. Last year, we had record numbers last year, even in the midst of a shortage of vehicles, chips, and everything else, COVID, all the aggravating circumstances, and we still made it a really successful year. So,
yeah, and we've just been proactive about it. We know that a change is going to happen,
Yes.
so we try to make something better happen before that comes up.
yes,
So with the inventory change, that's how we're able to provide better value to our customers. We talk about only having 5 vehicles on the ground, but that's not a bad thing. It's because we've already pre-sold everything else that's coming in.
yes,
And we provide that value to our customers before they even buy it.
yes.
And we stay in communication with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we help them get exactly what they want, so they're not having to sacrifice.
Right.
Or if time is more important, then we find the right vehicle that's going to work within that time frame.
Yes.
What happens when someone calls in on a new vehicle and they expect to be able to see it? How do you walk them through that? How do you try to not change, but how do you try to explain to them that, hey, selection is kind of down right now. We do have options for you.
Yes.
How do you walk them through that?
So if they're local or within reason, I try to get them to still come in. Many times the new vehicle looks nicer and nobody's driven in it before, but it drives the same as a pre-owned vehicle we might already have on the lot.
Exactly.
So I still try to get them in the door. And then many times I've found in my tenure here, people think they know what they want until they actually come in. And
True.
Many times, I've had family tell me I only want a white Malibu, and they end up in a black van and they're happy with it, so it really just depends on the needs of the customers. And I think that's where it comes in. We have a great sales team, and our sales team listens to our customers. We're not order takers by any means, but we do care. We want to know what's most important for the customer, and once we get that, then we work with the inventory manager to find the perfect vehicle at the right price.
That's what I love about your team and the team, not only at Chevy, but the entire staff at Gates Automotive. We do such a great job of listening to the customer to see what their needs are.
Yes.
It's not like we're trying to smush them into something.
Right.
We're really trying to uncover, okay, we've got a puzzle. Here's a piece. Here's a piece. Here's another piece. Oh, look, here's a good solution for what you're looking for.
Yes.
They do such a great job at that.
I
And
agree.
again, everybody does that. Everybody at all of our stores at Gates Automotive does such a great job at that.
I agree.
On the phone, what kind of stuff do you guys take care of? Whether it's a phone lead, if they're on our website looking at stuff, how do your guys help add value to the customer before they even show up? Because they do a great job at that.
Sure. We remind them of who we are. We're, so many dealers pop up and they're gone, right?
Exactly.
We've been in business 94 years. We're going to see you at the grocery store. We're going to see you at the BMV. So we want everything to be great. We want you to be happy, and we believe in that. The Gates family, in my experience, has been a great family, not only to work for, but just a good family. And because they have family values, it spills over into the work. I've been in the automotive industry 26 years, but nothing like now. I have fun at work every single day.
That's
I do.
great.
I mean, honest to goodness, I laugh. I love my team. Even when we want to choke each other, we still love each other. It's like we're really one big happy family.
Yeah.
And sometimes you want to beat your little brother up when he's not acting right. We might have to side meetings like that, but for the most part, it's all fun. It's all love. And I think trying to answer your question, it's those things. Or we have personalities over the phone. We can laugh and joke with our customers over the phone and still be professional. We try to give them their best situation for them. For example, I buy cars. If a person comes to buy a vehicle from me and they live in the state of Indiana, it's to their benefit for them to trade that vehicle if they need another vehicle versus just selling it to me.
Now, that's a very good point that you brought up. So let's dive deeper into that.
Sure.
Why would someone want to trade in a car? Let's say it's a more expensive car, because that's a little bit easier to do the math on.
Sure.
So let's say it's a $30,000 car, and they can either trade it in for $30,000 or let you buy it for $30,000. Why would they want to trade that in?
Well, a couple reasons. Number one, most people need a replacement vehicle. And if they do, but a lot of people think, oh, I'll sell it and then I'll go get a vehicle. Well, if they trade and they live in the state of Indiana, they save on the sales tax of the new vehicle. They almost always get more for the trade versus just selling it outright.
True.
And again, I don't sell cars for a living per se, but I do buy them. Yet I still tell every single customer that very thing, because I'd rather them to make the best decision for themselves, earn their business and friendship, and hopefully their family's business in the future, as opposed to just a deal today.
Exactly. Not just the one deal, but many deals.
Yes.
Their kids' deals, their grandparents, their neighbor.
Yes. And I really believe that's why we're so successful. I think last year, that's exactly why we still made great numbers, because people were recommending their friends and family. They did have a good experience.
Exactly.
Prior to working at Gates, I've purchased many, many vehicles in my life. And for me, it was, oh, I see that beautiful car. I got to have it. Doesn't matter where it's sitting at. Doesn't matter the person selling it to me. But having worked here now, I've worked with, tenured salespeople that have customers so loyal they don't even want to talk to me, and I'm telling them I'm calling on behalf of their salesperson. But that speaks very highly of the loyalty that I didn't even know existed prior to coming here. So, and I just think that all goes back to the Gates name and the foundation that they laid, and that's why we're still successful. Yeah.
What's funny is when you said that about calling someone else's customers that you are helping,
yes,
the person that came to mind was Terry Calvin.
That's exactly who I'm thinking of.
Who's been here for decades, and her customers are just so loyal to her.
They are.
Shout out to Terry.
Yes, definitely.
Her customers are just so loyal to her that you calling on behalf of Terry, saying, "Hey, I work with Terry. I'm helping you and helping Terry.
Yes.
And they still want to be like, nope, only talk to Terry. Click.
So many times they won't even respond to me sometimes, but
Yeah.
they'll call Terry, and then Terry will say, "Hey, such and such called me, so you don't have to call him anymore.
Don't worry about it. I got it."
But I love that. That
Yeah.
speaks so highly of what she does and the experience
Exactly.
that customers have with her. Because again, I was never loyal. I hate to even say that out loud now, but I never was. It was just like, I like a car, I go buy it, and
Yeah.
that's that. It didn't matter who the person was selling it to me, because that experience was just not a fun experience before. So working at a dealership and seeing these customers come back, like I said, they won't talk to another person. You can hardly sit them down and offer them a water because, they're after who they know, and it's just because of the experience. So that speaks to the, very much.
It speaks to the moon, right?
It does. How much effort the sales team puts into making a good experience for the customers.
Yeah, and you're right. It's the whole team. It's not just Terry. It's multiple people that have been here.
Yes.
Not only at the Chevy store, but at all of our locations,
Absolutely.
whether it's at Chevy in Mishawaka, Toyota in South Bend, or the Grandeur Elkhart location. We've got a lot of great people at a lot of our stores.
Yes.
And not just in sales, but also in service.
Agreed.
You see a lot of that. And I think the culture is a lot different, too, at Gates. What would you say makes the culture different at Gates? And what else are you trying to help put into the culture so that it is different?
Sure.
So that it does make Gates different than what other dealers are in the same area.
Well, I think the number one thing really is the family owned. I've worked in corporate America for many, many years, and you make a lot of money, but you're a number. Just being honest.
True.
I lost my father while working for Gates, and the owners reached out to me.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say we're a family, we really are. Not only do we spend a lot of hours together every single day, but it is so different to walk through a place and people know you by your first name. High up people that don't have to know you, that just take pride in knowing everybody. No matter what you do, you're important to them. So I think that the Gates family has laid out, like I said, a really good environment for us. And I think that we just, everything just kind of builds off of that. The relationships we have with our fellow employees all comes from that. Same thing with our customers. We have fun, we laugh, and
it makes a difference.
It does. It really, clearly, because like I said, some people don't even want to talk to me. And I'm pretty nice, But,
I think there's such a negative stigma that's attached to auto dealers, car sales, car salesmen.
Yes.
And Gates really breaks that. They break down those barriers because we're people.
Yes.
Gates, we're just people.
Yes.
We're family.
Yes.
And we treat people that way.
Agreed. Yes.
And it comes from the top. It's not just Andrea trying to do that. It's not just Drew Dixon trying to do that. Shout out to Drew Dixon. But it's everybody in the entire company that wants to help make that and create it.
I agree.
So huge shout out to the owners, Matt Helmkamp at Chevy,
Definite.
Jeff Gates at Elkhart, and then also Joel Gates here at Toyota in South Bend.
Definitely.
Props to them for setting that standard.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah. So let's transition back to your department real fast.
Okay.
So you had a huge move that you guys did a few months ago.
We did.
And you've kind of rebranded your entire store.
Yes.
At least the location you're in.
Yes.
And there's this silly acronym. Well, some people think it's silly. We call it the RBC.
Yes.
What does RBC stand for?
The
What does that mean?
Regional Buying Center. So if you have a vehicle that you want to sell us, even if there's a lien on it, anything, I would say 150,000 miles or less, bring it in. Let's appraise it and try to make you an offer. We've kind of centralized that. Me and my team kind of outgrew our space at Chevy World.
Yeah.
And simultaneously, we needed a regional buying center. So it all kind of worked out together. Shout out to my team because they're learning to wear multiple hats at the same time.
Shout out to Andrea's team.
I love it. But we're having fun. We're keeping it fun. But it's really a very smooth process. You just come in, I appraise the vehicle, test drive the vehicle, used car manager test drives the vehicle, and I make you an offer. If we agree on the offer, I take possession the same day. Your lien gets paid off in 10 days. If you don't have a lien, or even if you do, your portion of the check, about 10 to 14 business days.
Great. They literally show up, and we take possession the same day.
Yes.
We put a number on it. We make it work, and they get a check within an appropriate amount of time.
Yes.
Their lien gets paid off
Yes.
If the residual, that would go to them.
Yep.
And it's a really easy process.
It is. We have fine-tuned it. I even have it. I'm prepared, proactive. If there's multiple customers at the same time and just me there, I already have a system in place for that. So, we are ready to buy cars. Bring them over. 130 East McKinley
in Mishawaka. Great. And how's that transition going for you guys? You've been there a few months now.
We have. It's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to my team.
Shout out to Andrea's team.
Anything that I have put in front of them, they've ran with, and they're just great people. So, like I said, we sat down. When we find something doesn't work, we sit down. I value their input, and we come up with a better plan.
That's great. When you're looking to expand your team, what is it you look for in a potential employee that you know would make them a good fit for your team? Not only for your team, but for the team at Gates. Sure. What do you look for?
Well, in my department, computer savvy, exceptional communication skills, gotta like to have fun because I'm a goofball. Yet know how to be serious. I like, we work hard. We laugh all day, but we roll our sleeves up and we do work. So, somebody that's a team player, yet self-motivated. I always joke with the team and say, I left my kids at home so I don't come to babysit. So just people that are serious about work. The ins and outs I can teach. Really, it's just being serious, professional, want to be there. Everything else I can help you with.
Great. And what would make a person a good fit for Gates and as a whole?
Sure. I say professional, dependable, willing to learn, willing to take direction. We have so many good coaches in so many different areas. So just the ability to learn, as long as you don't come in thinking that you know everything, we can teach you any and everything.
Yeah, that's great. You can silence that if you want to.
So you're going to laugh at me.
Oh, yeah?
I'm a little old. My daughter just bought me my first little Apple Watch for Christmas, and I just got it yesterday. So I really don't even know how to work this thing. I'm trying to be cool.
Can I show you?
Yes, please do.
Cool. So all you do, if I remember correctly, did I do it backwards? That's what it is. Instead of pulling down, you push up.
Okay.
And then you see that. That'll put it on. Whoops. I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong button. It's this button right there. That'll take care of. So if it's not lit and it's just showing the bell, then that shows the alerts. But if you push that button, it goes red with this line through it. That means it's silenced.
Perfect. Thank you.
You learn something new every day.
Yes. Losing my headset here. Okay.
Cool. So we were just talking about Gates as a whole and kind of what our culture's like, what our employees are like.
Yes.
If someone were to come into Gates, what would you expect them to experience when they're looking to buy a car?
Well, I would say a good time. Like I said, we come in, we try to make everybody laugh. We try to make everybody smile. If you know what you want, great. If you don't, as long as you can sit down and try to differentiate the needs and the wants, we can help you with everything else. You know your budget, we got you after that pretty much. So it is a good experience. Our sales team is very knowledgeable. The finance department works really, really hard to get good rates and good numbers for everybody. Ultimately, I believe it, that people have a good experience when they come in. You're going to laugh from the time you touch the reception desk till you leave. And hopefully you'll be smiling when you leave. That's the goal from everybody. We're all, like I said, we're all goofballs. So, you might catch us dancing in the middle of the showroom floor, acting crazy, somebody in a headlock. You never know what you might see at Gate Chevy World, but it's all in fun and love and family.
Well, it's funny you say that because one thing that Drew Dixon, so shout out to Drew again, because there's just so many things he does that are really good, really amazing, and really funny. One thing that he does is he will give the salespeople a spiff. If he can get the customer or the salesperson to get in the trunk and have the other person honk the horn on the car.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What is the spiff? How many times have you seen it? Why do they do that?
So, in a time like now, especially when you don't have a million vehicles on the ground, you got to keep enthusiastic people around. And we generate fun. We bring the fun, right?
That's right.
And so Drew is very creative in how we can have fun. And he's a great leader. He really is. I would give him a lot of kudos just for keeping the environment happy. Like I said, you don't know what you might see at Gates Chevy World, but you're gonna laugh and you're gonna have a good time while you're there. And throughout the process, from the very beginning, you're not, because we're laughing and because we're having fun, customers aren't scared to tell us, oh man, I had a repossession a few years ago, or I really only got X dollars to put down, or I don't have any money to put down, or whatever. Because everybody has something that they're worried about when they walk in the door, right?
True. Most
of the time, most people know, okay, I got a job, I have a chance of getting an approval, but maybe not on the vehicle that I want, maybe not my dream vehicle. And I think because Drew keeps things so fun, their barriers are down pretty fast, and that just makes the overall experience good.
And the salespeople do an awesome job at that too.
Yes.
They know that, not that people will buy from them if they keep them happy, but if they can break down those barriers and talk to them like they're people,
yes,
then that will give those people success.
Yes.
And a byproduct of that is we'll be successful.
Yes.
It all comes down to putting that customer first.
Yes.
And giving them what they're looking for, what they want, and give them a good time while doing it.
Absolutely.
What advice would you have for someone if they were not only shopping for a car, actually, let's do this. What advice would you have for a new employee that came to Gates? What advice would you have for them about the opportunities that are in front of them?
So many opportunities. So many opportunities. Great company to work for. Listen, take notes, there's something that every single person possesses that kind of stands them apart. And you got to find what that is. Terry Calvin, for example, I jokingly, but really mean it. She's my lease guru. She knows everything about leases.
Yeah.
So I've found success with customers, even over the phone, telling them, listen, I don't know all the answers, but I know who does, and getting them with the right person, rubbing shoulders or elbows, I guess, with the right person to try to learn some of those things. Because everybody does things just a little bit different, yet you can take something away from everyone. So that would be my biggest suggestion. Learn everybody. Don't be scared to ask questions. Shadow people.
I love that.
You're going to create your own way of doing things, but it's okay to take a little something. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, right?
Yeah.
You can take something somebody else has already, fine-tuned and then it's working really well for them. Could potentially work for you too.
That's great. And then let's segue to car shoppers.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of advice would you give to someone shopping for a car right now? And let's be specific. If they're shopping for a new Chevy,
mm-hmm.
what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I would just say take a couple minutes and sit down and ask yourself, what do you have to have in a vehicle? And when I say that, there's a lot of vehicles that are made and not yet released because of certain packages. For example, heated seats. Because of the chip shortage, certain vehicles, they're pushing them through without the heated seats. Now, once they get the chip, they're going to retroact and, go back and...
Yeah, kind of like a recall from what I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But can you live without that for a couple of months? And if you can, because you're still getting this great deal, that, might be a way to go. I would say be flexible, because this is unforeseen times. These are the used car market's at an all-time high. So just kind of know what you want, what you need. And once you know that, like I said, we got a great team. We'll be able to help, get you into the right place. But I would say if you haven't driven something, like say, for sure you want a Malibu, but you've never driven a Malibu. Just because the one that we have on the lot might have 60,000 miles on it doesn't mean that you still can't get a feel for a Malibu.
Yeah.
So come on in anyways. See if you like this. And then if you don't, great. That's helpful too.
Yeah.
Tell me everything you hate about it.
You got to start somewhere.
Exactly. And then trust your salesperson. And that's a hard thing, and I get that. But if you got to know that they're only making money if you have a deal, right? So if you're not happy at the end of the day, there is no deal. So
True.
Be upfront and honest with them, but then give them an opportunity to really work for you. Their job is not always easy, but they're really good at it, and they work close with the inventory manager to make sure all your wants and needs are, bundled in whatever vehicle it is that you want. So Just be honest with them, be upfront with them, and let them help you.
That's great. What about for used car buyers? What kind of advice would you give them about the market right now? And I know it's fluctuating every day. It's fluctuating month to month. Mm-hmm. The nice thing is right now, Gates has a good selection of used vehicles.
We do.
A lot of other dealers are not in as positive of a space as we are.
Agreed.
We have the opportunity to go get the right vehicles and bring them to Mishawaka, so that we're bringing it to the customer and we're having the right vehicles. We have the right selection at the right prices.
Yes.
And then our salespeople take it to the next level by building that trust with the community in this area.
Yes.
What would you say about our inventory right now? What kind of advice would you give to someone that's looking for that used car?
Pretty much the same, whether new or used. Doesn't really matter. It's just really knowing what you have to have versus what you want. And
a used car, maybe that opens up a few more doors.
Always does. Right now, especially, definitely. And there's a lot of people that used to only buy brand new cars that right now, because they're still in need, are coming to the pre-owned market. I would say the biggest, most important thing about Gates that I think separates us from all of our competitors, we offer a lifetime warranty on anything under 100,000 miles.
That's awesome.
Engine, transmission, drivetrain for the life of the vehicle. You keep your maintenance records, $0 deductible if you have to use it. That just is unheard of. It is nothing. You don't pay a cent for that. So for me as a buyer, I would say that would give me a peace of mind, especially if I'm used to only getting brand new vehicles. And now, because of my need, I have to get a pre-owned vehicle. At least I have a peace of mind knowing that, okay, it's covered,
Exactly. A lot of people buy a new car for the warranty, for the coverage.
Yes.
And now at Gates, as long as the vehicle has under 100,000 miles, you can have warranty coverage as long as you own the vehicle.
Yes.
Which is unheard of.
It is.
And that's a nationwide program.
Yes.
It's not like you have to come back to Gates for that. If
That's
you
right.
are somewhere else, you can go get service somewhere else.
Yes.
If you're out of state, it'll still work there.
Yes.
And just like you said, it comes at no cost to them.
Yes.
It's
amazing.
Included. Yeah, exactly. So we've talked about customers, we've talked about salespeople. Let's talk about your family.
Okay. They're my favorite people. I don't know if it's because they look like me or... No, I'm just playing.
What are your kids doing right now?
So my oldest daughter lives in Indianapolis. She is in the insurance world, and she's also going to school, and then she also works part-time. The girl's a little busy lady.
Wonder where she gets it from.
I don't know. She also does part-time waitressing, so she's face-to-face with the community, yet doing a lot of insurance things behind the scenes. She really likes what she's doing, and I'm super proud of her. It's my big baby. That's what
awesome.
I call her.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then my three younger children all live local here. Yeah. My youngest lives with me. My middle daughter lives with me half of the time. She's in that age where it's like she has a room that's hers, but she's not in the room very often. Whatever. But the three of them, they all work local.
Great.
In the service industry.
Cool.
Actually, one of our owners sees my daughter regularly. She asked me the other day if she's supposed to give him a discount. And I said, that'd be really nice. Like, you see him so often, you probably should give him a discount. But
that's funny.
I'm really proud of all four of my children. Excuse me. And I have a grandson now, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He just 17. On the 17th today, he is 7 months old.
That's awesome.
So he's amazing. He is teething and trying to crawl around everywhere, and he's blowing kisses at everybody. I had to tell him last night, like, hey man, those are my kisses.
Those are only for me.
Yes, he's the greatest though. So love my family.
That's awesome. What brought you back to South Bend? You said you spent some time in Mississippi and Indianapolis. What was it that brought you back here?
Family. My elders were getting sick and older, and as you get older, you realize time on earth isn't forever, right? So the most important thing in life to me, is the bonds of a family. And as the generations above you start hitting certain ages and their health is starting to deteriorate, it's extremely important for me to be here and available to help them, so that my kids can get all the wisdom, all those kinds of things you don't really think about when you're young and you're just trying to see the world. And then as life goes on, you're like, man, you appreciate certain moments. So for me, it was just my elders getting a little older, and I lost my mom. It'll be 8 years this year. And as I said, I lost my dad a year ago as well. So my aunts and my uncles, they're everything to me, you know?
Yeah.
So, and wanting to also instill that in my kids. So I needed them to be close and to watch me take the lead. So, because one day they're going to have to.
That's awesome.
So that's why I'm home.
Exactly. And you clearly understand it's not just about you, it's about pouring into your kids.
Definite.
And you are where you're at because of the wisdom from the generation that came ahead of you.
Definite.
And you need to do the same thing for your kids, and that's what you're doing.
Yes.
And you need to be able to teach them to do the same thing.
Yes.
And in a similar way, that's what Gates has done in such an awesome way. It's not just one generation, it's the next one pouring into the following.
Yes.
And teaching them to do the same thing.
Yes.
That's why they're on the fourth generation or the fifth generation.
Yes.
And I hope that there's things that you're teaching your kids that they teach their kids.
No doubt, me as well.
And they teach the next generation.
Yes.
Let's talk about women in automotive for a second.
Okay.
You're a woman in a male-dominated industry.
I am.
How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty cool because of that, to be quite honest. You know, it takes a lot of courage, right, to stand up and say, especially when some of the things that some of the ideas you may have may not be, I would say, normal or just different than maybe what some ideas in the past may have been. But it's awesome to be taken serious by a group of strong professional men. And I think that it's awesome. Like I said, I've been in the automotive industry almost 26 years. And I've seen so many changes. But I'm excited. You know, I hope that I open doors for other women later on. I hope that although I've been the only woman in many rooms, in many meetings, I hope someday, you know, that's a thing of the past, and there's a million women, because there's a need for women in this industry, more than just answering phones.
That's right.
And so I think that the more times, you know, there's a lot of customers too that come in that want to talk to a lady because they don't feel intimidated. Just, you know, especially your elderly ladies who may have lost their husbands, and maybe their husbands have, you know, prior to now handled the buying, right?
True.
So it's
especially in that generation you're talking about.
Yes,
you're right.
Yes. So I love the fact that I'm a trailblazer.
That's a great way to say it. Chevy reference too, right?
That's right. My GM rep would be proud. No, in all seriousness, though, I do honestly feel like that there's a need for women in every place, everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just automotive. And
exactly.
What you're saying, it's cool to hear, because people who have a daughter, I have a daughter, and to imagine that she can do anything she wants.
That's exactly it.
And to be able to instill that in her too.
Yes.
Even if it's not the norm for her.
That's right.
I'm sorry, not the norm for that industry for women to do that.
Correct.
That she can still do it. If that's something she wants to do, she can go out and do it.
Yes.
And she can be the best at it.
Absolutely.
And you look at, let's say, some of the salespeople at Chevy, one of the best people there is a female.
Yes.
She's done an awesome job there. And so Terry, we won't share her age, but she's been there for decades. Let's say that.
Yes. Yes. Go, girl. Yeah. I love my Terry.
Shout out to Terry Calvin. Why do you think she's been so successful in what she's done?
Two things. One thing she's actually told me out of her mouth, she said when she came into the car business, her father was also a very great salesman.
That's right. Yeah, she worked with her dad. That's right.
So she did. But she vowed to herself that there was nothing a man could do that she couldn't do as good, if not better. And she prides herself on that. And she's amazing. Her, you know, the product knowledge, all the things that are teachable, she just has naturally. But then she goes above and beyond. I mean, have you ever went and bought a car and at the end of your car buying experience, somebody gives you a GG cupcake? If you buy from Terry Calvin, you're getting a cupcake.
You do.
Like, I was so impressed with that when I started, like, she buys her customers cupcakes? But I love that. And they love that.
Yeah.
They love her. And it's not just because obviously not just because she's a girl by any means, but there's nothing. She doesn't look intimidating, right?
Yeah, true.
She's a small frame lady with a big pretty smile, and you know what I mean. But she is a beast. She knows everything.
Yeah,
that woman is so intelligent, and the fact that she has these customers so loyal to her just speaks volumes. Just
exactly,
her work speaks for itself.
Exactly, it's not just her product knowledge; it's the fact that she's willing to build these relationships with every customer that she comes in contact with.
Yes,
and you can ask her anything. Well, not anything, most anything about her customers, and she'll be able to tell you.
No kidding.
And I mean, a lot of them, part of it's because they've come back so many times to buy vehicles from her because she's built such a good relationship.
Yes.
But she'll continue to build that relationship and continue to do it. There's a gentleman that she's sold many vehicles to, that has bought many vehicles from her. And not only has he bought vehicles from her, his son, his daughter-in-law,
sure, his
grandkids, because he knows where to go.
Yes.
And they've built such a great relationship.
Yes, they trust her.
Exactly.
And again, when the stigma is that you don't trust a salesperson, that's awesome. That's a heck of a barrier to break, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And there's times where people like that will call Terry and say, "Hey, did you hear this big news about Chevy?"
That's
because they just love talking about stuff like that.
Yes, yes, agree. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, you've done a great job at breaking down negative stereotypes about women in automotive. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you.
I think you're setting a lot of, not setting standards, but you're raising the bar for women in multiple industries. So thank you for doing that. I hope that one day my daughter's able to do the exact same thing.
Me as well.
And I hope, exactly. In the same way, I hope that you're doing the same thing for your kids.
Yes.
So that they're able to do that. What is one thing that really inspires you to keep moving forward in that direction?
Well, I would say the fact that I do have 3 daughters, and that, it's only a first one time, right? So if I can be the first at this, then the door's open.
Yeah, true.
And just to be able to open the door for the next generations, my children and other children. I think with having a good team of not only subordinates, but again, management team that helps develop me, and that does take me serious, that respects me. They allow the opportunities for me to open those doors for others.
That's right.
I appreciate that.
That's great. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have helped you get to where you're at today.
Yes.
Anyone you want to name specifically?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Matt Helmkamp.
Shout out to Matt Helmkamp.
He's amazing. He has to be the nicest, most gentle-toned person you ever meet. Like, honest to goodness.
100%.
If he was mad, I have never seen him mad. I don't know if he even can get mad. And I take my hat off to people like that because I can get mad easy, So I just love his disposition. He cares, and that goes so far with me. As a matter of fact, the biggest thing that impressed me with him when I started my first year, Christmas cards, he hand wrote Christmas, like little messages. And I just thought that was so cool in a world where people don't even send Christmas cards with just signing their name anymore. And he actually put and not just to me, I thought it was just for me at first. Hey, did you get one of these? And then when I realized, okay, I'm not that special. Everyone got one. But I went back to his office and
You're
told
special,
him,
just not that special?
Right. Exactly. But I went to Matt's office and told him, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore. It's a lost art, but it's so personal, and that just goes to show how he cares about his employees.
Yeah. And he does, 100%.
Yes. Clint Emberton, definitely.
Shout out to Clint Emberton.
He gave me, he believed in me. He gave me a shot and gave me the tools to do my job and sent me going. And I appreciate that. Appreciated the opportunity to prove that he made a great decision.
You get to prove it to him every day.
That's right. That's right. My managers, Drew Dixon,
Shout
absolutely
out to
amazing.
Drew Dixon.
Amazing. Couldn't ask for a better supporter. Aaron Krieger,
Shout
Andy
out to
Gearing.
Aaron Krieger. Shout out to Andy Gearing.
The 3 of those guys, they put up with my little drama. I'm just kidding. No, they do. They put up with me though, and they give me all the love and support, and they help develop me. So I most certainly appreciate them. My team, man, without them trusting me, and following my lead in some of the things, we wouldn't have such smooth sailing, and we do.
True.
So I really appreciate, that they trust me to give good answers and to give when we have some hard conversations, they receive them well. And that's huge. Also would love to shout out Sam Sweden. I love him.
Shout out to Sam Sweden. He's my
favorite. He is my absolute favorite. And you, Jordan. You as well. And
thank you.
Everybody, like my sales team, because man, they deliver. I talk about how great they are, but my customers see it when they leave, because I follow up with my customers and I ask them, how was your experience? And I love when they say, it was just like you said it was going to be. So that's a huge shout out to the whole Chevy sales team. They're awesome. They're amazing guys. I love them. Finance team, like I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm just giving shout outs to my whole crew at 636 West McKinley. They're amazing. From the receptionist literally on. Everybody helps each other. We are one big family. So love all my guys.
That's great. Shout out to your whole family, right?
My whole family. Chevy strong.
What are some things that your team does that helps them over deliver to your customers? There's probably some specifics that they do where not just they're severely under promising, but they're just going over the top to make sure that every customer is taken care of to the extreme like they should. What are some things that they do?
I would say the biggest thing is giving them all the reasons on why they should come here to Gates. They may live closer to another dealer, but they're really good at capturing the customer over the phone and explaining why we're the best. And the customers give us a chance. Excuse me. I would say the follow-up is very important. Most people feel like they're important when they're in front of whoever it is that's trying to sell them something. But the second they leave, that's it. And we take pride in following up. How was your experience? What can I do to make you a valued customer? Is there an obstacle I can help you overcome? Whatever. And the guys, like, I have to tell them sometimes, like, guys, we're not shopping for them, because they'll get super specific. And I'm like, well, we can't spend an hour on the phone, guys. We got 100 more calls to make. But they do. They really take it serious. They try to help everybody. One of the things that I coach a lot about is knowing your customer, mirroring your customer. Well, when you're over the phone, you may not know who they are. So you kind of gotta ask certain questions to figure it out. But everybody's either going to be like your mom, like your kid, like your spouse. I mean, you know what I mean? You can kind of sum people up kind of in categories like that, and then talk to them accordingly. So I help a little bit with that, but the guys are just honest, and I think that helps tremendously. Nobody likes to say the things over the phone that, customers don't want to hear. You don't want to deter a customer. Yet, you'd rather be upfront and honest and earn their respect rather than to just tell them anything just to get them in the door, and then they're angry anyway. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
that's where other people do it wrong.
That's exactly
other dealers,
right.
They lie to customers to do whatever to get them in.
Yeah.
And that's not the right way to do it. That's not how we do it.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what makes us different.
I agree. Yeah.
There's huge things that we do that makes us so different than everybody else.
Right.
We put the customer first. We go through and help them and bring value to them, so that they find the right thing today, so they come back to us when it's time for their kids' vehicles, for their next vehicle, for everything. And
one other thing I will say, I tell the customers, my team tells the customers, if we can't help you, we work with 30 lenders, so I mean, if anybody can help you, it's us. But if we can't, we can at least give you a plan. And I've watched, like, when I first started, I used to go down, at one time it was called the Advantage Lot. Used to go down there once a week, ran into a young man, very young.
And that was a satellite location for Gates Chevy World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Young man came in, he hadn't been on his job long enough, didn't have any credit, didn't have enough money down. He couldn't do anything that particular day by himself. Didn't have a co-signer. So I gave him a plan. He came back a year later and bought from me.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome. It was really awesome, because he said, well, you told me things that nobody else told me. Everybody else, they just wanted me to take a high mileage vehicle that wasn't good. I wouldn't have been in a better situation today.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I took your advice. I did X, Y, Z. He had some credit established, and he got a car.
That is awesome.
So,
and that's not the only time that happens. It probably happens a lot.
It does.
Because we give the customer exactly what they want.
Yes.
Not just to buy a car today, but if it's other options in the future, then we help put them on the path towards that.
Yes.
That is awesome to hear.
Yes.
Cool.
So,
what else do you think makes Gates different than other dealers in the area?
Well, I think, like I said, just the overall experience, the tenured staff. My goodness, in car sales, people don't stick around. Like
it's true. It's
a
revolving door.
Hours. It really is. So when you can say, "Man, I work with 3 people that have been here 30 years."
Yeah.
Like just 3. I got plenty of people, but I mean, just in one location, 30 years. That says something.
Yeah.
I mean, that speaks for itself to me. Again, and I think that goes back to the management, having good leaders, having open door policies, people that are willing to listen to you because you might have a better idea. And they're actually going to listen and not get offended that they didn't come up with the idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've worked for places in the past that, if it's not the right person's idea, it's probably not going to get handled,
Yeah, exactly.
So I think those are the biggest things. We're going to see you in the grocery store. We've been here 94 years.
Yeah.
We're it's not like I'm just going to, make a lot of money on you on this one deal real quick and then you'll never see me again in life. No, we want to see you again. And we want you to be happy. And I'm going to follow up a week later and say, where's your cousin and your brother and your sister and your mom? So if the experience wasn't good, you're not sending your loved ones to me, right?
That's right.
So I think that sets us apart as well.
Exactly. You've got a great team over there at Chevy.
I do.
Let's talk about your desk managers for a second.
Okay.
Drew Dixon.
Yes.
Aaron Krieger.
Yes.
Andy Gehring.
Yes.
They all have different personalities. They all have different leadership styles.
Yes.
But what are some things that you like about them that you try to emulate in your leadership as well?
So all 3 of them are very different, and they all do bring something specific, and each one is needed for a solid team.
True.
When it comes down to appraising vehicles, for example, one manager may be more conservative than another.
True.
Which is needed.
Yeah.
In the end game, you can't be all the way conservative because then we will never have any new vehicles.
True.
Or trade-ins. And then on the other side, we have to have somebody that's paying attention to our liabilities out there, right?
Yeah,
so we need that conservativeness at the same time. I think the open door policy is the biggest thing. No matter what's going on, I can walk up into any one of them at any given moment and say, hey, I need you. And they're there. Whatever's going on, they stop what they're doing. They care. They're listening.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And I try to adapt that for my team as well. No matter what day it is, no matter what I got going on, I'm never too busy for my team. And that's huge to me.
That's great.
From my leaders.
That's great. And clearly they want you to be successful
yes.
so that you can be successful for your team.
Yes.
And then your team can be successful for every customer that comes in here.
Yes.
I think that's one great thing about Gates is from the top down. That's a lot of things that they take care of is taking care of our team so that we can deliver for our customers.
I agree. Yep.
So, Andrea, I think we're going to draw this episode to a close. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Whether it's I know we did a lot of shout outs already, but whether it's someone that people that work here, someone in the community, or even family, what are you thinking?
Definitely, my kids. Love my kids. They support me.
Shout out to Andrea's kids.
As much as I think I support them, they definitely support me.
True.
They are the reason. They inspire me. That's what motivates me daily. My team, because they're amazing. My team at Chevy World, from the leaders, to all the way to the reception. The receptionist.
That's great.
Everybody's amazing. Everybody's helpful.
Shout out to the team at Gates Chevy World.
Great company to work for. Great people to work with. I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's great. Awesome. Well, Andrea, I cannot thank you enough for coming on here today and making this happen. I know it was kind of tight to fit in your schedule, but I appreciate that. Can you come on again sometime?
I'd love to.
Cool.
Thank you. I appreciate
Awesome.
the opportunity.
Andrea, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Car Talk, presented by Gates Automotive. Huge thank you to Andrea and her team for her time today and for making this happen. And thank you to our viewers for listening. Have a great day.